Not bad. There's several in that freshman class that are fairly talented that we're looking at that are competing. Tyreek Matthews, Quentin Williams, Dadrion Taylor, Quan Watts, Alex Hogan when he gets healthy, Trey Cleveland. There's a few of those guys. Those are all just the true freshmen I mentioned, not just newcomers, that are going to be in the mix for a role.
How long? I know you've only been through 5 workouts, but how long does it take you to figure out if that is going to be the case with those guys?
Well, I think 5 practices is enough to say, hey, they're going to be in the mix. How far do they continue to progress? Can they continue to push through some fatigue, some mental fatigue, because the camp will soon catch up to them.
Coach, are you kind of hoping that Armand Shine, you talked about him, and making a big contribution as a grad transfer, are you kind of hoping this year that he's the guy that takes a bulk of the carries, or is it still kind of too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. I'm sure it'll be a 3-headed monster at least back there.
Was he out there today? I didn't see him in the portion we were available. Was he out there today at practice?
He wasn't today. Yeah.
What is his status?
He's banged up day to day.
What about Mannix?
Same thing. Yep.
Has Shine basically, has he practiced yet?
Yep.
He has.
You hear a lot of the coaches telling their guys how important it is to stack days on top of each other, and Coach Patterson was telling his group that he's seen really good things the last couple of practices. How critical is that for you guys as you progress throughout the course of spring?
Well, it's critical for individual success because I think it breeds confidence, number one, to stack success on top of the other. It also, to me, it helps your teammates gain confidence in you. So not only in yourself, but your teammates are gaining confidence in you. It's important to get into that habit of stacking success, day after day, right on top of each other.
Well, Coach, how is the offensive line looking so far? I know it's early, but I know that was a big part of what you were looking for coming into camp. How do they look so far?
I thought the offensive line had a good couple days. The last couple days, didn't think today was very good. That's good give and take if you want to be politically correct at the offense. I thought the defense kicked their butt today. But I thought the offensive line had done a nice job the last 2 practices in protecting the passer and running the football. Not today.
What players,
that's kind of how training camp goes, though, sometimes.
What players on the defense are sticking out to you right now?
I mean, Jordan Brooks has done a nice job. I think Fry and Coleman have both done good jobs. Broderick he's a load inside. He's a big load. I think Nick's been fairly consistent. Eli's like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, the guy just is relentless pass rusher and tremendous motor. If every kid on this program gave as much as Eli, practiced as hard as Eli, we would be in contention in November. That's the end of the story, but that's also the goal, is to get our guys to be overachievers and relentless in their pursuit of perfection, just like Eli Howard is. Can't say enough good things about him.
What about on the younger side of the defense?
More than the younger guys I just talked about?
Yeah.
It's about the same.
Regarding Eric Ezukanma, obviously he has a lot of talent. Does he flash every few
all
days,
the time.
or is he
flashes
putting it
every day.
together every day?
He's stacking it every day. It's a great example, Don, and great question. Good eye. It's like you've been out here every day. I'm just kidding. Easy. He's tough. He's physical. Rarely bust assignments. Really strong hands. He's got a great mindset. He works. He's a grinder. But he makes plays, and he does it day after day, and he's kind of quiet about it. Maybe a little even unassuming, but he is. He's going to be a good college football player in the next 4 years.
You obviously knew he had talent, but for a young guy out here in the heat, being kind of a freshman, is it more impressive that mentally they're showing the mental toughness that you talk about?
Yeah. I mean, a second year player, he kind of acts like a vet. He's kind of got a veteran spirit about him, and that nothing phases him. Whether it's full pads, it's competition, it's the heat. It's going 4 days in a row, the first 4 practices. I think Eric's had a very consistent 5 days.
You talk about how physical he is, but what about RJ Turner, and what have you seen from him?
RJ's going to help us this year. We did not miss on him. Big, strong, physical wideout. He and Easy are both on the left side right now. They'll complement each other. They're unselfish. They both block. They catch contested balls. RJ's going to have a good season.
Has TJ helped out some of these other guys with all of his experience?
Sure. Yeah, TJ's, you know, when you say helped out, I think he's done it behind closed doors. He's not real outward about it or brash or trying to gain. He's not trying to gain attention by it, but I know he has. He does a good job, but he's also worried about himself playing at a high level. And so, you know, to be a good leader or a great leader, you got to first produce, and that's something that I've encouraged these guys to do.
So did you find out about Alontae Brown?
Not yet.
There's been, I think, reports that he's going to a prep school.
He's not qualified yet. So it's
But
about all.
But you haven't closed the book on him being here yet?
It's not here yet. So no closed door yet.
Any developments from Zach McPherson, grad transfer?
Yeah, there's another one. I mean, he and Evan Rambo, I'll talk about them both in the same light. I mean, both really all 4 grad transfers. You know, Armand's been banged up a little bit today, but all 4 grad transfers, first of all, are going to add to our culture. They're strong, minded young men. They work really hard. They grind. They're good young men off the field, and every one of them are going to be in a major role.
You mentioned a couple weeks back of how you might move some guys around in the secondary. Is that just kind of like a trial and error type of thing to see where guys are better, or is it just guys proving for their spots?
I think it's cross-training. I don't think anything's error, and we just try to cross-train them.
How's Maverick kind of looked at you after you got to see him make some passes out there?
Maverick's got a bright future. There's a lot of things going, you know, getting thrown at him right now. He's going with the 2s and the 3s. There's a lot we asked the quarterback to do in this offense in terms of get the signal, tell the receivers what to do, tell the O-line what to do, half the time tell the running back what to do, and then, oh my goodness, I have to know what to do. Maverick's handled most of it fairly well. It's a lot coming at him. He's mature. He's got a really good arm. He's got good arm talent, and his better days are ahead of him.
How viable is he on the depth chart, considering he's coming off a year that he basically didn't play and still has a knee brace?
How viable is he?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, should we assume I would have assumed he would have been more like a number 3, but you make it sound like he could be a number 2. Is that
I'm looking
accurate?
for who the number 2 is right now.
But
I'm
you
looking
think-
for
but you
somebody
think
to
he
step
could be.
up.
In other words, he could make up that 1 year that he lost.
He didn't lose it. He just didn't play, Don.
Right.
I mean, he was injured. That doesn't mean you can't play the next year. I'm looking for who's the best number 2. We don't know who it is today.
Coach, what about all the new kickers? How have they done so far in fall camp?
Austin McNamara is going to be a good punter. Cody's had his spots. We haven't put a ton of pressure on him yet. We'll see.
Schedule-wise, since I'm going to be able to get with you for a few days, you guys scrimmaging this weekend? And if
We
so,
are Saturday.
Saturday. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you look to get out of that? You mentioned, I'm imagining you're one of the ones to get as much work in that situation since you haven't had
1s and 2s. Yeah, I mean, we'll be fairly equal. We'll go 1s on 1s, 2s on 2s. We'll get some kicking. We'll have a full Big 12 crew in here, referee crew. So we'll try to get some live kicking. But we'll go some situational, some red zone, some tight zone, some coming out on the -1 yard line, and we'll get some open field stuff. Probably a 2-minute drill.
Following up on Maverick in just a moment, on media day that you said that y'all had to be kind of monitor his reps because I guess the knee. What percentage of work would you say he's getting now compared to the other guys who are fully healthy?
Just the same.
They'll be utilized in both. Last year's stats got a little skewed at Utah State. We got ahead on a lot of guys, and fortunately we're able to run the ball a whole lot in the second half. But if you watch our offense and our tight ends, they're at the point of attack a lot in the run game. That's one of the biggest reasons why we use the tight ends, because we want to play fast. We do want to run the football. And they're a big part of the passing game as well. They're going to be on the field the entire time. They've got to be able to stretch the field vertically, and they've got to be able to get their pads low and to move people up front as well.
How has Thompson progressed as a blocker? I know he's put on weight, but how's he doing?
DT's done a really nice job. We've asked him to do a lot of things that he's really never done before. And he's been like a sponge. He trains a lot, does a lot of extra things in the film room, works on his footwork off the field, and he's come a long ways. The last 3 or 4 practices of spring ball, you could really see him coming along. He's put on 30 pounds. He's got a lot of confidence, and he's been playing lights out so far in camp. I'm really proud of him.
Hey, Coach, Travis Kuntz was highly recruited. Seems like fans are kind of really looking forward to him, having high expectations. It didn't look like he caught a lot of passes last year, though.
Yeah.
What kind of offense was he in, and what is his pass catching?
The offense he was in at Ventura, didn't exactly feature him all the time catching the football. They had a lot of receivers that they got the ball to, and they played him at different times. But when we saw his video, we saw the capability of him to stretch the field vertically. He's got really soft hands, and he brings a lot in the run game. He's a really physical guy. Travis in high school, he's an ex-wrestler. So he's got some toughness to him, and he's got really good hands as well.
I was trying to remember the name of number 87 that y'all had last year at Utah State.
At Dax Raymond.
Which he caught quite a few balls.
Yes.
How would you compare Travis to Dax?
They're totally different guys. And that's kind of the neat thing, and that's the way most tight ends are. A lot of them are totally different. You've got, like with our guys, you got DT, and then you got Coons. Tyler Carr's been in there playing some, and they're all different body types, are all different skill sets. Dax was he was an ex-quarterback and an ex-receiver, and then made the move in. Travis is. He does a really good job bending his knees, striking people, has a physical presence with him, and is learning right now in the passing game as well.
You mentioned Tyler. How has he progressed? I noticed he really wasn't doing much a couple days ago.
Yeah,
he was doing a little more.
Tyler's doing a nice job. Yeah, so Tyler's a really smart kid. He understands it really, really well. He's a tough kid. He enjoys, he was naturally kind of a really good run blocker up front, and this spring and throughout the summer has really improved his game in the passing game, running his routes, sticking his foot in the ground. He's got soft hands, and so he's had a nice camp so far.
Would you consider your job maybe the toughest out of all the offensive coaches here, considering not necessarily what you had to work with, but clearly the history?
No, we're all pitching in. We're all trying to do our job, and at the end of the day, we want to score a lot of points, and there is a lot with the tight end position. So it's and most of it's more technique related than assignment related, and so those guys have got to do a little bit after practice. They got to do a little bit before practice, and they got to spend some time with the O-line. They got to spend some time with the receivers, but that's all part of the job.
Who's flashed the most among your H position guys?
The H position has been, I tell you what, they look a lot better already than they did last spring. Dalton Rigdon, McLean Mannix, those have been guys that they've just been out here flying. They play with fanatical effort, both of those two guys. Xavier White's a local kid that's really, he just showed up, and he could be a guy that's in the mix as well. Those guys have done a good job.